Back in May last year, I took a solo trip to Lisbon. It's a place I've been a few times before. I absolutely love it. It's a beautiful city. But this was my first ever dedicated sketching trip, which was very exciting. I had about 3.5 days, and I wanted to use as much of that as possible to make art, to sketch around the city, and I really enjoyed it. In May it was very hot, I got very sunburned, but I had a wonderful time. So I basically thought this is my first ever sort of semi-completed urban sketching sketchbook. I only started really doing it seriously last year, so I thought I'd do a quick tour and show you some of the sketches I made while I was there. So the first page is always the most difficult, and at least in my case, I guess I was kind of lucky that it was also the one that didn't quite go right. I wanted to sketch this fountain that's down in Rocio, the main square in the center of Lisbon, and I got the proportions all wrong. I didn't do a thumbnail sketch, and I wasn't able to sort of fit the whole thing in, but that did allow me to sort of focus in on some of the details, get a little bit of contrast and tone, and it's not bad, and it did get me over the first page fear kind of thing. You'll see throughout the sketchbook I was using quite a thin, it was a 0.1 fine liner, and then I was using some Tombow water-based markers and Derwent Inktense pencils, which are a bit like watercolor, but they're a little bit more pigmented, so you get a bit of a stronger color. I was quite happy with the result. It was my first time really experimenting with that. So again, still on my first day, I went down to the Praça do Comércio, also called the Terreiro do Passo. It's another one of the main squares. It looks right onto the river. It's got this beautiful yellow palace around it and this wonderful arch, which again, this trip really taught me how to condense details and simplify things for speed. But again, I'm really happy with how this one came out, considering it's quite a complex building. Then I managed to walk up towards the main cathedral, the Sé. This took me a while, but I was luckily sort of under a bus shelter. Again, it was quite busy. There were trams and buses going past, a lot of tourists. A few people wanted to stop and talk about what I was doing in Spanish, which again, I was a little bit rusty in, but you know, the proportions aren't quite exact, but then it does have that illustrative style that I really like. And I really like it when people leave out details from some of the surrounding buildings to give it a little bit of context, and I'm quite happy with that again. So this one wasn't really done on a single day. I sort of left this page to sketch some of the Portuguese blue tiles that you find around the city. I could have picked dozens more. They're so beautiful. Some of them are so complex. You don't get the full effect unless they're, again, tessellated in the pattern, but again, these are just some of the favorites that I came across, especially this one with the beautiful flower motif. I think I found that up in Alfama, the old district. So yeah, just a bit of a taste of some of the color and design that you can get throughout the city, but again, I'd never be able to capture all of that. And while I was up in Alfama, I went to the Mirador de Santa Luzia, which again looks over this sort of old, very condensed district on the side of the hill, looking over to the National Pantheon building. It's an absolutely beautiful view. And again, I wish I'd cited this slightly differently in the page. I think I was expecting to go further down, but again, once I added the color, it kind of came together and looked really beautiful. I think at this point in the sketchbook is when I gave up on trying to add the paint and the color while I was still in Lisbon. You know, at this point, I got back to my hotel room and I thought, oh, I need to do some painting, but I was so exhausted that I decided to focus on doing the sketching, the line work while I was still here. And then once I got back home, I could finish it all off, which again, I'm very happy I did, because that meant I could spend more time on everything. So this is a view just opposite where the last one was. It's all around that beautiful viewpoint. This is just a lovely building. I thought we've got some tram wires and some laundry. You get a lot of people around Alfama hanging out their laundry. It's absolutely beautiful. It's one of my favorite areas of the city. It feels very medieval, very winding, very hilly, mind, but it certainly meant that I didn't have trouble sleeping while I was staying in the city. And I think this is one of the last ones from my first day. This is towards the evening. There's a sort of little theatre district. It's just off the main Avenida da Liberdade. This is a sort of area where there are a few theatres. There's some very brilliant Art Deco bits. These are sort of 4 lanterns, I guess they are, sort of more like sculptural. And then there's a theatre back here. Again, it was getting dark, so I did have to rush this one slightly, but again, it's a brilliant view, and it's not one that you see a lot of people attempt when they go to Lisbon, because it's more Art Deco, it's more modern, I guess. But again, I really liked it. And then the last thing I sketched on my first day was this metro totem. But then I wasn't happy with the fact that there was so much negative space, so I kind of added to it. These are the 4 emblems for the different metro lines that you've got across the city. I really like that they have their own individual identities and colours. And then this is the what do you call it? Ticket card pass thing that you actually use on the metro. So these 2 again were sketched from life. These weren't. But again, you know, it's my sketchbook. I can do what I like. So then on to the second day. I went up into Chiado, slightly different area of the city. It's basically on the other side of the main artery, I guess. This is the square named after Portugal's most famous poet, Luís de Camões. And again, I was sort of surrounded by tourists. It was very hot, but it's a lovely square. There are trams going all the way around. It was a sort of lovely half an hour I spent, and then having sketched the figure and a bit of the background, I left this space. This is some of the calçada tile pattern on the ground, sort of around the statue, and then this was the sort of motif on the front of the plinth, which is again sort of the Portuguese coat of arms. And I don't know, it's kind of just little bits of detail which I quite enjoy. Nearby here is a sort of lovely hill up towards an old theatre, the Trindade Theatre, which is sort of this lovely coral pink colour that I tried to capture with a certain colour of Inktense. But again, you know, I was trying to sort of leave colour from the sides so you could kind of really focus in on this main building, and I'm quite pleased with how this page came out. And then next, I walked up to the square outside the old monastery, the Carmo ruins that are they sort of loom above the city. I think I sketched them later from further down. And then there's this beautiful little square, and it's got this kiosk, which again you find all over the city, but this was the place where I decided to stop and sketch one. This is kind of a quintessential Lisbon view, and this is possibly my favorite sketch from the whole trip, just because, I don't know, it's got life in it. I've got figures that I like, that I left the trees as ghosts, I guess, just to really make that green pop. And there's a bit of a debate over whether the green ones or the red ones are best. I like them both. It was just the green one was nice to sketch, and I just love these. These add so much character to the city. After that, this is the front doors to the station, Rossio Station, which again is quite central. These are the trains that go towards Sintra, which is a lovely place, which I would have loved to have gone to sketch, but I just didn't have the time during this trip. I'll have to go back. But they've got these lovely sort of almost Art Nouveau arches and details, and this lovely carved sort of typeface, which is here. But this is only a small detail of just the doors. But again, I'm really pleased with this one, because again, I was standing in quite a busy area next to a pedestrian crossing just in front of this. I managed to keep out of the way, but again, it was felt very rushed. So again, I'm really proud of this one in particular. This is the convent, the monastery I was telling you about. So this is a view from back down in the Rocio Square, from where the fountain sketch was, and you're looking up and you can see this ruined shell of an old, almost cathedral. It's absolutely beautiful, and this sketch doesn't show you how high up it was. Hopefully I have a photo that I can show you. And again, this is probably the sketch that took me the longest, because again, you've got to get the proportion right, you've got to get the perspective right. I didn't know how much detail to add of the sort of buildings in the foreground. But again, I think considering the amount of time I had and my skill level, as I say, I'd only been really seriously urban sketching for 3-4 months at this point. So again, I'm really pleased with this one. This is my sort of last full evening of my second day, and I went up to the park. There's this beautiful park at the top of the hill, and you can look down and look all the way to the river and all across the city and the castle and the districts. And they've got this amazing fractured monument. It's to the 25th of April Carnation Revolution, where they had a military coup against their dictatorship and brought back democracy. And it's a really interesting sort of collection of broken stones that build into this point, and it's a fountain, it's got beautiful water around. I basically chose entirely the wrong view of it to try and sketch. So I came back and I just had these bits, and I didn't like it. I wasn't happy because there wasn't enough background detail. You couldn't see the fact that it was a fountain, you couldn't see the background. So I decided to focus in on this central bit of granite, which I think is meant to be a carnation because it's quite red. And I kind of made this one a little bit more abstract, a little bit more, I don't know, conceptual, but in the end, I wish I'd done it entirely differently, but again, it doesn't look too bad, I think. And then we're into the morning of my third day, which wasn't a full day because I was leaving in the evening, but I headed out to Estrela. This is a lovely park out in the west of the city. Beautiful white gleaming basilica they've got there. I wanted to sketch in the park, but a lot of it was covered over for renovation and stuff, so I just headed straight for the basilica. It's very complex, so I just decided to focus in on this one tower. There's another one over here, and then there's a big dome in the background, and I just wanted to give a little bit of a sense of the scale, but focus in on this one detail. And again, I'm happy with this one, and I did manage to draw this one in the shade, which meant it wasn't quite as uncomfortable as some of the others. I couldn't have gone to Portugal without sketching one of these. I had one of these every morning for breakfast, sometimes two. They are, they're gorgeous custard tarts. I think I drew this one out in the east, in the Parque dos Nações, which was sort of a more modern area that they built up for the expo that they had in, I think, was it 2004? It was the early to mid 2000s. They built up this big area around the waterfront in the east, and it's got a really different character to the rest of the city. And sort of the main focal point of this is the big oceanarium, the big aquarium. It's this amazing building that kind of juts out onto this big expanse of water, and it's full of fish and all sorts of species. I didn't go in this time. I'd been in on my last visit to Portugal, and I'd recommend it. It's huge. It's absolutely an amazing place to visit, but also an amazing place to sketch. So I was just standing across the water, and this was my last sketch before I had to go to the airport, which wasn't too far away, and catch my flight back home. So again, I ended up accidentally squeezing some of the proportions slightly, but again, I'm okay with that. It adds a little bit of style, and it is in keeping with the other sketches within the book. So then the last three in this book are based on photographs. These were sketched after I came home because I wanted to do more. I just didn't have the time while I was there, because I say it was only about 3 days. But this is the funicular, which sadly, towards the end of last year, they one of them derailed, and there was a tragic accident. But it's very atmospheric, I would say. You've got this very steep street, and it sort of winds a little bit, and you've got these huge vehicles that sort of clatter up and down, and these big queues of people that form to get on them. And the last time I went, these were covered in graffiti, so it was amazing to see that they'd actually been cleaned up this time. But again, I must send out my condolences to the people who died and got hurt during the crash. This penultimate one, again, it's from a photo because I just didn't have time, and also this is a very busy area. This is in the sort of main square in Chiado. There's a cafe, I guess, a coffee bar called A Brasileira, and it's got a lot of history. It's where a lot of writers and poets and philosophers and thinkers used to gather to hash things out, I guess. And of course, you've got one of the most famous people associated with that is Fernando Pessoa. He was a poet and a writer who wrote under a lot of different names as well. And there is a statue of him sitting outside at his usual table, which I definitely wanted to draw, and I just had to do this from a photo. But then I was able to add in this motif again, with the calçada tiles that are sort of around the ground in this area in a sort of big circle. It's a very nice looking area. And then finally, I couldn't go to Lisbon without drawing a proper tram. Obviously, these don't stand still for long enough to really sketch, at least in the level of detail that I usually do. So again, I was working from a photo. This is a street just up from the Say. And again, just, they're the most visible emblem of Lisbon, and I absolutely had to make sure I got it in. But again, I'm pleased with the way I managed to keep this in style with the rest of the sketches, because it would be tempting because I was drawing this back home. I had unlimited time to make this over detailed, but I think I managed to keep the style where I was, again, sort of saving time and giving impressions of what was there without necessarily fully sketching it. And that is the last sketch in the sketchbook. There are a few pages left. Maybe I'll end up drawing from some more photos. Maybe I'll just take it back and finish it off. I wasn't able to get to Belém, which is another area I really like, because the trains were on strike and the trams were undergoing building work. So there's so much more I could do while there, and absolutely need to go back. But anyway, thank you very much for sitting through the tour. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you want me to do this again with any of my other sketchbooks. And I hope you have a lovely day. Bye.